Yo, what is going on, guys? Xtimus here. So today we're going to be talking about why Diablo 2 players hate Diablo 4. Now, I'm going to be doing a reaction video today with Asmongold's video. So as you guys know, Asmongold reacted to this video and it's just gone completely viral. A lot of the takes were definitely misunderstood, and I could definitely see where a lot of people were coming from. It's just, you know, if I think if I do a reaction video, you guys will probably see more where I'm coming from on my takes. As I was saying before, you know, Asmongold agreed with a lot of my takes, and also some of the negative takes I agree with him as well. Definitely, it was trending in the community. I mean, so many people are messaging me about it. Also, he was saying that he would like to do a Discord call. He said that on stream. I was not trying to speak for everybody, and I can understand that my takes made it seem like I was trying to speak for everybody. You know, I was just trying to say in like a general sense. I don't hate Diablo 4 either. I absolutely love the game. I just think it's missing a lot of core game mechanics. I think it's just, there's not much about Diablo 4. Like, there's just not a lot of Diablo 2 and Diablo 4. It's just that I think if we can come together and try to understand where we're coming from, where Diablo 2 players are coming from, where Diablo 3 players are coming from, and then we combine them together to try to understand each other, we can see where we're coming from. You know what I mean? So we can better the universe of Diablo. And also another thing, I don't hate World of Warcraft. I just don't like having World of Warcraft game mechanics in Diablo. You guys know I always do my own thing. You know, I always speak myself, you know, my heart. Like that, you know, that's one of the reasons why I get so much hate, is because like I'm completely myself, you know, and I don't worry about what other people say. You know, and one of my favorite quotes is from Jim Carrey, and it's like, you can take a chance on either being loved or hated for the person that you really are, or you can go to your grave knowing that you were a person that you never were, you know? And it's just, that's always been important to me, to just say whatever I want to say. You know what I mean? Let's react to the video. Love you guys so much, so let's do this.
Why Diablo 2 players hate Diablo 4? Well, apparently this person speaks for all Diablo 2 players.
And again, I wasn't trying to speak for everybody. I was just trying to say, like, in general, you know, this is a reason why Diablo 2 players might not like Diablo 4.
Here we go. Let's see what he has to say.
Diablo 4 is now a spin-off version of Diablo 3, Path of Exile, and World of Warcraft. The RNG random number generator game mechanics that made Diablo 2 the greatest game of all time through randomized loot, dungeons, monster spawns, and even skill damage ability gave you a new experience every time you logged on to the game, and has given the player base infinite replay value for 20 years. Diablo 4 has now evolved into a repetitive gameplay style that gives you the same experience over and over. That is less rewarding and is for the casual player base and MMORPG.
I mean, I would assume that with Diablo 2, most people probably fall off on the game really fast too. Like, they probably do the campaign, they probably farm whatever the highest difficulty is for a while, and then they stop playing. Same as Diablo 3. That's the way these games are designed.
Based game mechanic.
Not back in the day? Well, I mean, back in the day, you can't really compare what it was like back in the day, because back in the day, you didn't have 50,000 other fucking games. You had one game. So, of course, you were only going to play Diablo 2, because you only had Diablo 2. The only other game you might have is Diablo 1. So, yeah, of course it was totally different back then, but, like, I'm talking about nowadays. Like, I'm sure you can look at Twitch tracker, Diablo 2. Categories, Diablo 2 Resurrected. Yeah, I mean, you have the same thing happen, right? Where it's like the first day of
Well, here's one thing I wanted to mention about Asmongold and the popularity of Diablo 2. So I've said this many times before, is that Diablo 2 has a cult underground following. The massive popularity of Diablo 2 is not on the surface level. And there's not really a whole lot of Twitch streamers for Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's mainly on YouTube. And you got to think, dude, like, think of like Sweet Phil and Cooley. You know, I Love MF. I think they're at like 50K subs. They've only been releasing content for like 2 years. Dude, and they're doing amazing. Like, Diablo 2 has a it's massively popular. It's just not really shown on like a surface level.
Season, a lot of people watch and then people fall off. Now, I would argue that interest in watching a game is roughly correlated.
And there's lots of ways to actually look at this. All right, like if you go on D2JSP, it'll show like how many people are online, like in the trading forum. You know what I mean? So, and you have to look at the views. You know, Cooley is killing it right now, dude. Mr. Llama SC is killing it. They're posting like random Diablo 2 videos and they're getting like 50K. I mean, that's huge, dude. I mean, those are crazy numbers.
They did an interest playing a game. I mean, this is not.
And I think a lot of Diablo 2 players, I think the popularity is there. I think just there's a large majority of Diablo 2 players that just don't have the time to like really stream or even just log on to the game very much. Like, most of us are really older, you know? We have a wife, we have, you know, jobs, so, you know.
A hot take, right? Seasons are done to refresh that interest. And this is also not a bad thing. That's the way seasonal games are made. Everybody plays at the beginning. It's the same as Path of Exile. It's the same as every other seasonal game. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, I've been considered one of the most controversial Diablo 2 content creators for my critical opinions and somewhat of an outcast because of them.
Okay.
98% of Diablo-specific content creators are partnered with Blizzard. And this is probably why you have never seen me use the hashtag #DiabloPartner. I've always expressed myself to the fullest and never tried to gain the approval of everybody, which is an impossible task when fully being yourself. Now, this is the most controversial take from the video. Now, if you completely remove the names, I think people would have taken this completely differently. What I was trying to say is, okay, there is a chance. You still got to think that they're going to watch what they say. They're affiliated with Blizzard. I was not trying to say that they're not being truthful, okay? I wasn't trying to say anything about any of these content creators in any kind of way. Mr. Llama SC, Debrunski, Lucky, Cooley, like, I've been trying to support these guys so much. I retweet them, I talk about them all the time. I DM them all the time. I'm always hitting them up like, hey, how you doing, man? Like, I message Cooley sometimes in the morning. I'm like, hey, dude, like, hope you have a blessed day. And I watch Cooley. I watch Mr. Llama. Like, I'm a fan too, dude. I try to support them all the time. I send them donations. I subscribe to them. So if anyone's worried that I was calling any of them out, I wasn't. I talked to Mr. Llama SC today. I said, hey, dude, like, you know, I apologize. Like, I wasn't trying to say that you're fake or anything like that. So, and he totally got it. Like, Llama's been so cool, man. Like, so I checked in with Cooley. I checked in with DJ Waters. I was talking to Debrunski tonight. He was sending me some pictures of, you know, like all of his Diablo collections and things like that. So I wasn't trying to say that they're fake at all. You know, I love all of them so much. So shout out to all of them. Definitely misunderstood. However, I could definitely see, you know, how the way I presented it in the video could be like, you know, saying that they're fake or you know, the game whatever. Is my love and passion, though. I will be as old as Decker King going on a rant about game.
I kind of don't like this language, and the reason why I don't like it is like what he's implying is that everybody else on this list is like fake and saying things that aren't true and that are illegitimate. And I think that's kind of unfair.
No, they're not fake at all. I love all of you so much. And, you know, huge respect to Mr. Llama SC too, because I know he's affiliated with Blizzard. And, you know, he's been giving his takes on Diablo 4.
Like, it's very weird because, like, how do you know that they don't think this? How do you know that, you know, they're just not, like, because there are people that like the game, right? Like, you can expect that there are people that like Diablo 4 in the same way that, like, I am not a big fan of FIFA. But I think it would be stupid for me to say that everybody who likes FIFA is getting paid or is artificially pretending to like FIFA. No. It's just that other people like the game, and I don't like the game. That doesn't mean that they're paid or this is some kind of conspiracy. People just have different interests. I feel like we've watched many videos of Riker and Mr. Llama being critical of the game. This is not unreasonable. Anyone on Maxroll. The biggest Diablo 4 meme is because of the guy that runs it. What are you talking about? It's the rack 17 damage meme.
I don't know what meme he's talking about, so yeah, I don't know. It's just with Maxroll, though. Anyone on Maxroll is associated usually with Blizzard. And my theory is that someone at Maxroll definitely knows someone at Blizzard. So, you know, I don't know.
This is not even true.
The game is my love and passion, though. I will be as old as Decker King going on a rant about game mechanics and just my overall love for the game. All of my opinions come from a place of love, and I want Diablo to be in the spotlight like it should have been for the past 20 years. So let's talk about how the Diablo 4 game mechanics work. I will explain. That's another thing too, dude, is just like, Diablo has not been in the spotlight. Even if you liked Diablo 3, we got one expansion, which is like one act, a new town, and then years later, they give us a necromancer and we gotta pay for it. Like, that's it? You know? To you how Diablo 4 has now evolved into a repetitive, and like another thing is Diablo 3, they made Diablo 3 a completely different game compared to Diablo 2. You know? Like, if we took World of Warcraft and World of Warcraft 2 was coming out, and we said, you know, instead of the raid bosses just possibly dropping these 10 items, we're gonna make it totally RNG. There's gonna be 200 different items. You know, I think World of Warcraft players would be like, dude, why are you changing the game? So there's just such a huge difference between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. And they just abandoned the game. Experience from a Diablo 2 player perspective.
Okay.
Explaining the core game mechanics that are important to understand for the long-term success of Diablo 4 or any Diablo game. Diablo's unique gameplay style and replay value is possible through the term RNG, the random number generator.
Well, they have that in Diablo 4, because if they didn't, I would have all of the legendaries.
I'm just saying that, like, the RNG is not as RNG. You know, with personal loot, like, sure, you're randomly getting items. There's RNG. It's just it's personal loot, so you're mainly getting items for your class. You know what I mean? So it's just, it doesn't have as much RNG. And that's what made Diablo 2 so special. And what I'm worried about with Diablo 4 is we're going to be grinding, we're going to be doing dungeons, and it's like, dude, all I get are sorceress items. Like, this is boring. This is getting repetitive. Like, I want something new. So
I don't.
this was the main core revolutionary game mechanic of Diablo 2.
There's nothing revolutionary about RNG. The people that invented RNG in fantasy gaming is Dungeons and Dragons. They were the ones that introduced dice rolls, because before that, different types of like fantasy-based games were not fun to play because they were completely on rails.
And here's again, like, where I was misunderstood. Like, I'm not saying Diablo 2 created or Diablo created RNG. I'm saying that Diablo 2 made RNG extremely popular in the action RPG world. I'm not saying they came up with RNG. And, you know, that it's just, you know, another take in the video where I'm misunderstood.
My mom, like, she actually played games that were fantasy games before Dungeons and Dragons. I did not even know this, but I found the ancient texts. And this is back whenever she was still around. So I asked her, I was like, what the fuck is this? And she had spreadsheets and lists and everything for, like, these games that were made for a computer that can fucking... you know, this is like one of the computers that have like a screen this small. So the Jedi text, I found them. And she's like, yeah, this is like this old game I used to play on the computer. And like, it was an Osborne PC. Let me show you the PC that she played this game on, okay? This is the PC right here. I'd have to find the specific one. But I could literally take, I don't want to get in my fucking closet and there's a bunch of stuff in my closet. I'm not getting it.
Dude.
But I have one of these. And it is, let me just see, it's basically like one of these here. And it's got a little screen in the middle. And this is what she used to play games on. And Dungeons and Dragons was the thing that introduced RNG into fantasy gaming. It was not Diablo 2. Like, this like predates Diablo 2 by like 20 or 30 years.
Core value has been exiled from the Diablo franchise since the release of Diablo.
Item RNG is what he's talking about. Item RNG was made by Dungeons and Dragons
3 and now abandoned by Diablo 4. Now, you may
RNG has been abandoned by Diablo 4? I didn't know that.
I'm saying, like, the type of RNG has been abandoned. Like, in Diablo 3, when you do a rift and there's like 30 legendaries, like, that's not like, it's not good RNG. It's still RNG. It's just the same repetitive RNG type experience.
Well, I guess next time I kill a boss, I'm just going to get the legendary I want.
Yourself,
thank God.
What is it about Diablo 2 that made that game the greatest game of all time?
Okay.
Why did I spend 20 years playing this game and not others? With my studies of quantum physics and this is the best part of the video, my spiritual journey, I realized 95% of quantum physics and my spiritual journey, I realized 95% of our brain's thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, perceptions, and more
We're only 2 minutes into this video and we're already getting into the fucking metaphysical shit? Oh my God. We're 2 minutes in and he's already revealing his power level? Oh no.
That's my power level, bro.
Let him cook? All right.
Function like an automatic unconscious computer program. Your perceptions of the real world and the gaming world are a set of unconscious programs. And this is something that you can Google, right? 95% of your mind is unconscious. Your thoughts, your behaviors, your beliefs, they're all unconscious. So, yeah. This theory, along with the misunderstanding of Diablo's core game mechanics, were the real reason why you had these beliefs about Diablo 2 being the greatest game of all time, which I will explain in further detail later on. Chris Wilson, the creator of Path of Exile, studied these theories as well about Diablo 2
so much.
when he was creating Path of Exile. Chris knew Diablo 2 was the greatest game of all time, and he studied the game to its core. And I got this because Chris Wilson was doing a presentation, I think, at GDC or something like that. And I'm basically quoting him here. He was talking about Diablo 2, and his quote was, "What was it? What was it about Diablo 2? Why was that the greatest game of all time?" So, yeah, Path of Exile is highly inspired by Diablo 2. Every time you log on to Diablo 2, you have a new experience because of the RNG mechanics. Every moment is different. It is impossible to have the same experience you had before every time you log on to the game. When you enter the world, the dungeons are randomized.
I mean, I don't really think that's entirely true in a unique way with Diablo 2. Like, maybe I'm wrong because I haven't played the game a lot, but I've watched the game a pretty good amount.
So here's the thing, right? There's a few places in Diablo 2 where it's the same. Like, if you go to Baal's lair, where you fight Baal, it's going to be the same. If you go to Mephisto, it's going to be the same. And you gotta understand, like, Diablo 2 was never finished. Even to this day, Diablo 2 is an unfinished game, and you can see that because of, like, Act 4. There's, like, 3 quests missing. Now, I'm not saying that everywhere you go is a new experience. It still is because of the RNG mechanics of, you know, killing the monsters and the random monsters. So, like, yeah, like going to Baal, where the world stone is, it's always going to be the same. It's just, however, if you go to the world stone, to the waypoint, every time it's going to be different. Now, I know this because of Mr. Llama SC, and you can kind of learn and understand, like, exactly where the next level is going to be. Like, usually it'll be to the left, so you go to the left. However, there's going to be times where it won't always be there. However, like, majority of the time it'll be on, like, the left or the right. And I could be, you know, not totally correct on all this. It's just, it does look the same, right? The tiles look the same. And my idea is if they had more time to make Diablo 2, they could make a super RNG game. Where, okay, if we're going to fight Baal, you go to the World Stone, you go to the waypoint, and everything is randomized. The monsters are randomized, the map is randomized, and the tiles are randomized as well. Because it looks like you're doing the same thing, you're just not. So when people are watching, they're like, oh, he's just doing a million Baal runs. However, it's still different. So it's just that the tiles are the same. So, and this is a master idea of mine. If they took, it's just Diablo, as I said, is unfinished. If they took the formula of Diablo 2 and then they expanded upon it, they can make this unreal, never-ending, infinite experience. You know? Completely randomize the items. Completely randomize the monsters. Completely randomize, you know, they randomize the item stats. They randomize the item drops. They randomize the tiles. Even if you fight Baal, randomize Baal. Maybe instead of Baal casting this spell, there's a chance he's going to cast another one. Or maybe make like a ton of different Baal versions that could spawn, you know, like a treasure goblin. And make a rare spawn of Baal. This would make the game, if they took this formula from Diablo 2 and added all these things into like Diablo 4 or a new Diablo game that's like Diablo 2, it would just absolutely be a master game. It's just, I think a lot of the Blizzard North devs weren't aware of like how special the game really was until later on, you know? I don't even think they realized any of this, you know? And Enigma and patch 1.10 and all the rune words, like, dude, all that stuff came way later. You know, the game was basically in like beta phase for years. So like that's just my idea to like make Diablo this perfect, infinite new experiences, because even though like Diablo has that formula, it's not complete. And if they completed it, if they use that formula, it would be the greatest game of all time. It's, to me, it's the greatest game of all time. It's just I've never seen, and I'm so surprised by this. I'm so surprised that no one has taken the formula of Diablo 2 and created it in another game. Just use their formula. You know, there's a reason. All of these topics that I'm talking about are reasons why Diablo 2 has never died. We've been playing this game for 20 years. You know? Cooley, Mr. Llama SC, myself, Sweet Phil. You know, we've made a living off of this game. And it just shows how special the game really is, and you really need to take the time to understand a lot of these core game mechanics. And that's why I suggest that Asmongold tries Diablo 2. And he tries to get to the end game. And he really has a Discord call with me. I suggest he has a Discord call with Cooley, with Mr. Llama SCS, Mr. Llama SC, so he can really understand, you know, the formula of Diablo 2. Because I know that Asmongold doesn't understand Diablo 2. He just doesn't, you know? And I'm not saying that to, like, you know, say anything negative. It's just, you know, he's never even tried Endgame, you know? And I can make 10 different videos going on about, you know, a topic like this.
And my understanding with Diablo 2 is that most of the level layouts, like it's like in Path of Exile, most of the different locations whenever you're doing the campaign are pseudo randomized. So for example, if you want to go to the into like the cave in Act 2 where the bear is, okay? You're going to go into the crossroads or whatever it is on top of the Act 2 area, and it's going to be to the right. And it will be somewhere in that area. And it's not going to be exactly in the same place every time, but there's a general area that it will be in. The den, yeah. And my understanding is that that's lifted from Diablo 2. Because Diablo 2 has randomized locations, but fixed location, like a fixed location apparatus, where it can be in like one of 5 different areas, and it will be down to the left. That's the way it works, right? Yes, exactly. Yeah, okay, I thought so. I mean, again, I'm only guessing here, but yes, it's a tile. No, I understand tile sets. No, bro, like I played a lot of Diablo 3. I get it, but I put thousands of hours into Diablo 3. I put thousands of hours into Path of Exile. I did not really play Diablo 2. I wish I did. My mom didn't let me. Bro, it had Diablo on.
Dude, start playing it, man. I'm telling you.
On the fucking cover. I was raised Roman Catholic. I'm not getting a game that has the devil on the cover, okay? It's just not going to happen.
I really do think that if Zach took the time, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take lots of understanding to get why Diablo 2 is so great. I really think that if he got to endgame and he started learning about rune words and everything like that, he'd be like, dude, like now I see like why this game is so amazing, because it's so addicting, it's so rewarding to get those runes and then create those rune words. And then it just creates this massive crazy effect of like, okay, you know, a paladin can use lightning spells, you know, sorcerers can use lightning spells. And then like when you combine the spells, different spells from the different classes, and allow other classes to use other classes skills, it just opens up this crazy world of like making you feel like you're some kind of god, dude, and you're extremely rewarded for it. And another thing is, I know that Zach was saying that he doesn't want to grind forever to be able to be effective in the game. That's why Diablo 2 does have a very good balance, right? You don't need to have all of these crazy rune words. You know, you don't need to have a Zod rune to be able to be effective in the game. A lot of things are very unbalanced, and a lot of these topics are because, as I said, Diablo 2 is never finished. You know, thank God that Peter Hugh, and I need to do a video about him, he saved the whole game, dude. So he created all the rune words, Enigma, all those crazy rune words, Diablo clone I think he created. And the awesome thing is that he collaborated with a lot of the mod makers for Diablo 2 from Frozen Keep to create patch 1.10. So it was just so beautiful to see Peter Hugh, you know, put all this passion into the game, because Blizzard North was done. The company was done. And after everybody left, he stayed. And it was really important to him that he stayed. And he made sure that Diablo 2 was like as complete as it could be while he was still there. And it's just like, thank God for him, man, because if it wasn't for him, and if he didn't create that patch, I mean, Diablo 2 would be completely different. Completely different. So
I was like, no, but
sorry I'm going off topic a lot, guys.
you killed the devil. It's like, aha, yeah, nice try. Nice try, Satan. Not today. So yeah. Anyway, I feel like if you played Diablo 2, you would pretty much have the same experience, roughly the same experience every time. And it's not going to be a one-for-one experience, but it will be extremely similar to the other experiences that you had. And how, not entirely, yes, but like we're talking about like 95%. And it's not entirely in the same way that Diablo 3 was not entirely in the same way that Path of Exile maps are not entirely. Now, the PoE maps are a little bit different because like there are fixed maps, but in general, I think this is the case. Let's get back to the quantum physics. You're right. Anyway, yeah, I disagree on the idea that Diablo 2 is uniquely unique. I think that many games have dungeon randomized tile sets. Diablo 2 is not the only game that has this.
It's just like other games like aren't as randomized. You know what I mean? Like Diablo 2 just has like massive RNG, and I think that's what makes it so great. And other games just don't use that type of RNG to like its fullest extent, along with the types of monsters that spawn, the loot that drops.
I will, however, say that Diablo 2 is the reason why all of the other games have it.
The map layouts, and even your skill damage ability. Now, when you play Diablo 2, as I said, 95% of your perceptions of the world are unconscious. You unconsciously never knew exactly why Diablo 2 was the greatest game of all time, and these core game mechanics pass right by your awareness. This concept of the Diablo world had you constantly addicted to the rush of wanting new experience. And I showed this blue bow right here because I was trying to show, like, when you enter the world of Diablo 2, you just never know what's going to happen, and that's what's so exciting about playing the game. I mean, there's items in Diablo 2 that you are never going to find in your lifetime, ever. Like a rare Thunder Maul with like 500 enhanced damage, you're probably never going to find it, you know? And that kind of just gives you a rush, you know? You just never realized it this whole time. The loot.
I think this video would be a lot better if he replaced you and he replaced it with I. Because what he's really talking about is his personal experience with the game. And like a lot of people didn't get that vibe from Diablo 2.
Yeah, and he's totally right on this. I think this is another take from the video where I was misunderstood. I wasn't reviewing the video that much. I kept saying you instead of me. And, you know, as I said before, you know, I apologize. Like, I wasn't trying to represent everybody. You know, I just thought that people would kind of take it in like a general sense. Like, I'm just saying in general. You know, I'm not saying that all Diablo 2 players have this experience. I'm not saying that all Diablo 2 players hate Diablo 3. I'm just saying, you know, I just should have worded it differently, you know? And that's why, again, you know, I really appreciate the negative feedback. Negative feedback is so valuable, and it's just something that's just great, dude. You know, it just makes your content better. It makes you a better person. And just, you know, try to understand, try to see where other people are coming from, you know? Being randomized gave you a sense of overwhelming accomplishment when you found something like such as a high rune. This extreme rarity combined with the reward of extreme power left the player feeling like they were truly rewarded for their effort. The reason why Diablo 2 players won't like Diablo 4 is because it doesn't have these core game mechanics of the RNG. In Diablo 4, the world is almost always the same with no RNG. The dungeons are the same repetitive experience over and over again. Fetch a key, run to the left, run to the right, and open a door. The monsters...
I mean, whenever I watch people doing farming runs for like Diablo 2, all it is like usually it's like a sorcerer teleporting frames and then AoEing down a group of mobs and then resetting it and doing it again. Like that's the gameplay that I see a lot. And I'm not saying that's the whole game, but that's certainly what I see.
See, and I think that's again where like Asmongold kind of has like this misunderstanding of Diablo 2, like I was mentioning earlier. Like if you watch someone do a bail run, it looks like they're doing the exact same thing over and over. However, it's still randomized. And again, you know, Diablo's an old game. I'm just saying if they took a new game and randomized it even more, you know, maybe make the world stone look the same and also make it not the same. You know, maybe change the colors and make things different. You know, maybe there's like a rare, you know, zone over here or something like that. There's a rare spawn of Baal, something like that. So when people are watching Diablo 2, it looks so repetitive, dude. You know, and like I said, it's an old game, so, you know, it just didn't have all these extra features that we have now, you know, and the game was developed very quickly. You know, they were really working crazy, they were sleeping in the office, and, you know, I just don't think they had enough time to complete the game. And here's another thing. I know some of this is off topic. It's important though. I think that if they gave Diablo 2 a few more years for development, that Diablo 2 would have been so good, there would have never been another Diablo game again. Like World of Warcraft. Like World of Warcraft is so good, they never need to make another one. If they finish the PvP arenas, the matchmaking system, the guild halls, if they expanded upon the RNG, if they made, killing bosses not as repetitive, like if they made Mephisto more randomized instead of the map layout being the same thing. And it just, I don't think they would have ever made another Diablo game because it would have been that great. And it's just so crazy to think that, like, as good as Diablo 2 is, it could have been even more amazing.
I see that a lot. And the reason, straight up, like, I that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to play the game. Is that's obviously the best farming method, right? Like, there's no way anybody can beat that. So, like, that's, in my opinion, I think that's a shit meta. It is. It's a shit meta. And if they were still developing the game, it wouldn't be like that.
He is right on this, I just think if they took more time to develop the game, I think, like, with the terrorized zones, they're trying to expand the game. So I totally think Asmongold is right on that. It's just, however, I just don't think other games have the type of RNG that Diablo 2 does, Spawns are somewhat randomized, however, mostly the same. So now let's talk about soulbound.
Well, it's somewhat randomized, but mostly the same. I think that's, again, what Diablo 2 has as well. And also, like, whenever he's talking about, like, this thing, I don't think you can really compare, like, end-game Diablo 2 to Act 1 Diablo 4 dungeons. Because the end-game dungeons are going to be different. They're not going to be the exact same, because they're going to be, like, modified by affixes and different types of different things that the Nightmare dungeons will apply to them.
No trading. Yeah, we haven't really seen the end game. It's just, when you play Diablo 2, the loot is never the same. Like, it's never the same, unless you're getting, like, a quest item or something, or maybe there's something I'm missing. As far as I'm thinking, there's a 0% chance that you're going to go and you're going to kill Mephisto and you're going to get the same thing. I mean, you might. Yeah, I mean, you might. It's just the chances of it are really rare. You know what I mean? Like, you might kill Mephisto twice and get the same thing. It's just, that's like really randomized though, like the chances of that happening, it's probably not going to happen. It can happen though. And the itemization. So 98% of the item drops are for your class and gives you no sense of accomplishment. This term is item drop items, no trade. However, mostly the same. So now let's talk about soulbound items, no trading, and the itemization. So 98% of the item drops are for your class and gives you no sense of accomplishment. This term
98% of the item drops are for your class and gives you no sense of accomplishment. Mm-hmm. I think he's right about the first thing. He's wrong about the second one. I think that, yes, and I've always been a very big advocate that I think that they should have more drops for other classes that happen whenever you get to max level. Because, like, for example, somebody might kind of want to make a wizard, but if they have, like, a really good wizard item drop, they might think, oh, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll try it out now since I got, like, the best in slot weapon for wizard to drop. Or something like that. I think that'd be fine.
Definitely, dude. Definitely agree. And I do think that the items need to be more randomized. I think there is some sense of accomplishment. I think, yeah, it does give a sense of accomplishment. Like, if you get, like, a really rare item, I think I was more trying to say that, like, it's really repetitive. So it might not feel as accomplishing because you know that the item dropped because it's for your class. You know what I mean? So I kind of have, like, mixed feelings about that. So it's called personal loot, the same repetitive experience. This is a spin-off concept from World of Warcraft instance loot, where the loot drops are mostly the same from bosses and become soulbound. This has removed the idea of item drops being unique, special, and rewarding. This is to appeal to the casual players.
I don't think that having personal loot makes item drops and things like that not rewarding. Because it's still hard to get the items. It's not like you can't get... It's not like you're just going to get everything you want.
Also, the World of Warcraft player base... He's right on that. Like, yeah, it's still rewarding. It's just like when I was playing the Diablo 2 beta and I was doing dungeons over and over and over, I'm like, dude, I'm just getting the same stuff. The same items. Yeah, it's somewhat randomized. It's just like... If I was playing Diablo 2 and I was getting nothing except for sorceress orbs and sorceress robes, I'd be like, this is like really repetitive, you know? So, yeah, I don't think it's like completely not rewarding. It's just, for me, it's not as rewarding. It's kind of like mixed there, you know what I mean? Because it has a massive following, and they like the concept of instance loot. They don't like RNG based item drops. This gets them interested in... So you guys might not know about World of Warcraft, so when they do raid bosses, so if they do something like Mephisto, this is for people who don't play World of Warcraft. So if you kill Mephisto, say in World of Warcraft with a raid, with a group of like 10, 25 people, the items are soulbound, and they're mostly the same. Usually, like, a boss can drop like 20 items, and then he's only gonna drop 5. So I kind of think that this is a way to get World of Warcraft players into Diablo 4, you know, because they're like, oh, soulbound items, you know, like stuff like that. I think kind of attaches World of Warcraft players to want to get into Diablo 4. And I think most of them are Diablo 4 fans. The game, it makes Blizzard more money. I mean, World of Warcraft fans. Money from a wider audience.
Or
this concept of instance loot. They don't like RNG based item drops.
The items are RNG though. Like, I don't... where is this person going about how the items aren't RNG?
What I'm saying...
Because they literally drop with random stats. Now, they don't, like... For example, like a legendary item will always drop with, like, you know... I don't know, Andariel's Visage would always drop with, what was it, like crit chance and like crit damage or attack speed or something like that? Yeah, but all the other stats were random. He doesn't know how RNG is applied. He's saying RNG in the sense for any of your class? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. This gets them interested in the game. Yeah, like Blizzard more money from a wider audience. Like I'm saying, it's not as RNG because you're getting the same item type. I know that the stats are randomized. Yeah, like... Also, the loot drops were increased for the beta. However, I still think Blizzard is going to have legendaries dropping like RAW runes, just to benefit the casual player base.
Well, I think that's probably smart to have legendaries drop a lot, because legendaries allow people to build their character the way they want. Like, you don't want to have people farming for, like, fucking... Like, for example, this is a problem that Path of Exile has. Is that in PoE, there are a lot of builds that take a long time to get going. And I think that you have to invest so much into it that unless you're a very serious player, you might just lose interest in the game in the process. Like, I think this is definitely a problem. So, like, you do want to have legendaries drop kind of regularly. Now, it doesn't mean you get all the legendaries all the time. No. But it means you want to give people at least something to work towards. Absolutely.
Yeah, and this was what I was trying to explain earlier. Probably. And this is where I think Diablo 2 gets something really, really good. Okay? It's not like you need Enigma or you need the rarest items in the game to be effective, right? You could get a sorceress together with Spirit Sword, Spirit Shield, and you can actually be able to kill stuff. And those items aren't really difficult to get. So there's items in Diablo 2 that you can obtain easily and then still be effective in the game. However, there's going to be items that you're never going to find in your lifetime. You know, there's going to be items that are extremely rare, like getting Enigma. So that's why I think that they should, mesh these two together and make it so that there's both. So players can actually find items, be effective, be able to kill things in the game. However, there's going to be items that are extremely rare and then gives you that extreme sense of accomplishment. And if they're too overpowered, maybe just make a zone that has a higher difficulty. You know what I mean? If you've been farming for 6 months and have the most extreme rare items in the game, just, make zones that are extremely difficult that those types of players with those types of items can, farm those areas. It's just like, I don't want one of my biggest fears is that like the rarest items in the game, the most effective items in the game, are just going to be dropping everywhere, like a Rao rune, which is a super common item. So I really want to try to see them combine that together. So then everybody's happy. Also, for casual players who don't play the game
it's a seasonal
at an
game.
end game level. So, soulbound items and no trading. Have you ever heard any player say, I don't like trading? I don't want...
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't like it. That's why you have solo self-found. That's why PoE has solo self-found. It's a huge thing. That's why like classic WoW hardcore has solo self-found. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that think that. Now, I am a trading enjoyer. I really like the idea of trading, and I think that if you took trading out of a game like Path of Exile, my interest for the game would diminish greatly. I love trading, and trading is what made me like Diablo 3 Vanilla more than Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, because I like the idea of being able to farm out items and sell those items and then work towards the real big item that I want incrementally over time. Like, I have farmed out, like, for example, like my Ward Loop character in PoE. That was like a almost 100-hour journey that I took because I could trade. And I worked towards that goal one map at a time. And that felt really good for me to do. I really enjoyed that. So I am a huge trading advocate. I am a massive trading enjoyer. I think that they should have trading. And it seems like they are.
And I think, again, this is just where I didn't really review the video. Like, I'm not saying that, I'm just trying to say, like, the majority of people, there's just not a lot of people that are saying, like, I don't want trading at all. You know what I mean? Like, I would say most of the players in Diablo 2 want trading. So, I'm sure there's people out there, obviously there's people out there who don't want trading. It's just the majority of us want trading. And I should have just worded it differently. Instead of saying, have you ever heard anyone say, I don't want trading, I don't like trading, I should have said something like, the large majority of people, someone saying they don't want trading or they hate trading is extremely rare. You just don't hear it very often. trading in Diablo 4. Never. Let's say you find a Zod rune, the rarest rune in the entire game of Diablo 2 that is for a build like a barbarian, and you found it on a sorceress, so now it has no use to you. If this was Diablo 4, you couldn't trade it. One of the rarest items in the game, and you now have to just salvage it.
And this is something that PoE does right. Like, I think that I got, what was that fucking, I got a jewel, and it was worth like 8 or 9 divine orbs, which are like, it was like it was a big ticket item, right? Divine orbs are like fucking $100 bills or $1,000 bills, $1,000 bills. Shared stash. Well, what he means is you can't sell it.
Item drops are class based. What if it's not for your build? Will this happen in Diablo 4? Most likely. This theory isn't absolute because we haven't experienced endgame. So
of course it'll happen. Of course you'll get items that aren't perfect for you.
Why does Blizzard want no trading when 98%? Like, that's something I'm really worried about. Okay, like, if I'm playing a Chain Lightning Sorceress and I get one of the rarest Sorceress items in the game and it's for a fire build and I can't trade it, you know, like, that's just going to be so disappointing. Like, what am I going to do with the item? And then it's almost going to force me to play a different build because that item's so powerful. So, like, that's one of the things I'm worried about. And a lot of these things are just, it seems so far as theory, you know. Maybe once we experience endgame, we can understand more of this. And also, you know, over time they can always update the game. You know, there might be items that are soulbound, and then out of nowhere Blizzard's gonna make all the soulbound items, you know, tradable. You know, they might make very major decisions that have a drastic effect on the game, similar to like Diablo 3 removing the auction house. That was a massive, drastic change that completely changed the game forever. And of the Diablo community wants trading.
I mean, where did you get that number? I would argue that I think that most people do want trading because most players will advocate for the path of least resistance, and trading is the path of least resistance. Like, I think that it's the majority. Is it 98%? I don't know. I think that it's very high. Like, if you were to say, like, should we take...
Well, again, like, I'm just trying to say in a general sense. It's impossible to have a perfect, you know, percentage of how many players want and don't want trading. And again, this is just something where, you know, I should have reviewed the video more and tried to just word it differently.
Trading out of the game and put it up to a vote, I don't think that vote would pass. It's a cut down on RMT for sure. No, I don't want to be handicapped by Blizzard because they refuse to moderate their game. No, I don't want to be handicapped. Nope. This is a $70 fucking box price game. If you can't moderate your game, I don't want to be punished for that. That's your fault.
Many theories to this. One is Blizzard thinks this will fix real money trading.
It won't.
However, there will always be real money.
Because you can always trade other things. You can trade tons of other things that are not... Like, you can trade gold, for example. You just can't trade high-end, unique items.
Trading when trading is available in any kind of form. There's no fixed RMT unless the game is completely solo self-found. Blizzard wants you to actually find the items yourself.
He's right about this, and I think that so for example, the way that the game is structured right now, my understanding is that a lot of rare items will end up being best in slot, and rare items are tradable. Because rare items can have up to 5 affixes, and legendary items can only have 4. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's going to be at the highest level. Am I right about that or not? Isn't it the opposite? No, it's not. See, the reason why you think it's the opposite is because you played the lower tier of the game. Because at the higher tier of the game, Blizzard explained that the rares at that level are going to have 5 affixes. At like World Tier 4, they'll have 5 affixes, and that's one of the bonuses of playing in World Tier 4. He's not right. They changed it? Really? Rares have 5 affixes, so you can turn them into legendaries later. Yeah, they did. So you can get a God Roll rare? Yeah. You want to get a rare item with if this is Diablo 3, right? Like crit chance, crit damage, attack speed, main stat, and like health. Right? Like, that's it. They didn't change it? I don't know. But like, as it stands right now, my understanding is that a lot of the best in slot items, or the items that have the potential to be the best in slot items, will be tradable.
Complete your character. In other words, they just want you to be solo self-found. This restricts the player from having the freedom to make their own choices.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they should just have a solo self-found mode. If you don't want to play with that, you should just have solo self-found mode, and that's it. Are you not ashamed of your actions to promote third-party site and RMT? Absolutely not. I think the only person who should be ashamed is Blizzard, because Blizzard is the one that's responsible for maintaining the integrity of their game. I should not advocate to have the game be a worse experience because Blizzard refuses to spend money on customer service. No, I'm not going to take responsibility for them being a multi-billion-dollar company unable to pay a few customer service representatives to make obvious decisions on bans. That's outrageous. Path of Exile does it, and the game is free.
They should just have a self-found league like Path of Exile. They're literally forcing the player base to be solo self. Yeah, he's definitely right on that. And a lot of the Blizzard devs are really pushing the agenda, and they've said it many times that they actually want the player to find the items on their own. So, they're kind of like, to me, it looks like, in a way, trying to like force us to be solo self-found, and then also at the same time, like, allow us to trade. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. Found. Another theory is they're trying to appeal to a wider audience of players.
Yeah, again, this is predicated on something that's like it's not functionally true. Unless my information is outdated. Oh, another fact is that some legendaries are tradable, other legendaries are not tradable. Because you guys remember whenever I played with Silverveil, and I was able to trade her some of my legendaries, and she was able to trade me some of hers, but not other ones. So not only are some legendaries tradable, but the highest potential items that are the rare items that have 5 affixes are going to be tradable because rare items are by default tradable. They confirmed that was a bug? Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you. I was not aware of that. Okay, well, you can still trade the rare items.
Yeah, like, I know, like, you can trade some of the items in World of Warcraft. I just think that they're trying to put, like, these different features in there that are like World of Warcraft. So, like, when WoW players see it, they're like, oh, like, it's kind of like World of Warcraft in a way, let me try the game out. And I don't know, I could be wrong. That's kind of like a more complex topic, comparing World of Warcraft loot and Diablo loot, which is probably World of Warcraft, where soulbound items are the pathway to endgame gear completion. Yeah. The next theory is
which, by the way, I am an advocate of all gear in World of Warcraft should be account bound. Completely. With no restrictions at all.
Personally think, yeah, that is true. It's kind of like a World of Warcraft thing, because like when you're doing a raid, like a lot of the raids in World of Warcraft have like extreme high difficulty, So, you know, if you kill a boss and the item can be tradable, you know, all the players did all of that work to kill the boss. Like, the bosses are extremely difficult compared to Diablo. So, you know, it would be really disappointing to say me and 25 other people, you know, gather, you know, 25 really skilled players that know what they're doing. We kill the boss, and then they want to go and try to trade it to gain, you know, wealth for themselves or somebody else. Like, it's just a completely different concept of like the way loot is given out in World of Warcraft. So, you know, this is the best for the game. I hope I explained that right. You know, I'm trying, guys, in its future, regardless of community feedback. And the last theory is they think Diablo 3 was a success based on sales of 30 million copies without trading. However, when
Diablo 3 was a success in every metric. It was a massive success. The only people...
This is right here also. Okay, Diablo 3 was a massive success. Obviously, it's Diablo. The game died though. Like, if the game was a success, okay, like World of Warcraft is a success. Okay, there's probably 10, 20,000 people on Twitch right now streaming World of Warcraft. Where Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, it's always like a few hundred. Like, that is like clear that the game is not good. If the game was good, if it was like successfully a good game, I'm saying financially it was a success. The game itself was not a success. If it was, there wouldn't be 40,000 people playing Diablo 2 in 2016, you know? And this is another thing, you know, I haven't done too many numbers. I mean, we've had massive growth in the Diablo 2 community, even just this year. I'm seeing new content creators for specifically Diablo 2 come out of nowhere, just getting mass views, 50K views, you know, like one day. They've only been making content for like a year, maybe 2 years, 50K subs. So, I mean, nobody was playing the game, dude. I mean, the game died. And I think over time, I think some people did get back into Diablo 3 because there was nothing else really to do. You know, like, there's no new games. Diablo 2 is such an old game. Like, even Riker said he's moved on. So I think some people went back to it because they just didn't have anything else to do. I'm just saying, if the game, financially, it was a success. If the game itself was a success, we would see 10, 20,000 people playing Diablo 3 right now. And we would have consistently seen them get that many views for years. So maybe just try to compare it to, you know, World of Warcraft to Diablo 3. If World of Warcraft wasn't a successful game, like, people, there wouldn't be 10, 20,000 people playing the game, you know?
People who think that it was...
And I think, again, that's probably just like a misunderstanding of like where I'm coming from.
wasn't a success are people that had probably 500 plus hours into the game, which is like the top 10 or 1% of the player base. Like, a lot of people play Diablo 3. Do PoE has RMT? It's really hard to stop because people do it in different countries. No trade is the best answer. I don't care. I don't feel like my experience in Path of Exile is being diminished by traders, RMT. I would rather have some level of RMT and be able to trade than have no RMT and no trading. That's what I want. I would rather have some RMT and trading instead. Like, because that is the choice. You're right that we will have some RMT no matter what. But as a Path of Exile player, I played the game many fucking leagues. I played this league as well. And as a PoE player for 10 years, over 10 years, I do not feel like my experience in the game has ever been diminished by other people RMTing. So I don't have a problem. We have the money to interact with that system and we don't, so hey, fuck us. Wait, I have the money to interact with...
Yeah, that's why, like, sometimes I don't really care about RMT. You know, like, people got mad at me because I bought one item from Diablo 2 for like 99 cents. Okay? That's not going to affect the trading community in any kind of way, you know? Like, if I went on a trading website and I spent $1,000 and bought 1,000 burr runes, and I flooded the trading economy and completely ruined it, yeah, that's an issue. It's just, you know, if someone's buying like something here and there, like, it really doesn't matter that much. You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of like a topic that's can get complex, could be a totally other video and massive conversation.
Wait, what money do I have?
And that's just, you know, my opinion, you know.
I have the money to interact with RMT. I've never RMT'd in... If I ever RMT'd in any game, I will be honest, guys. I was down bad in one PoE league, and I looked up how much Exalted Orbs were. I did. I looked it up, and then I decided it wasn't worth it, and I didn't buy them. But yeah, I looked it up. I was so upset, man.
Yeah, I don't know why, like, people judge others so much. I mean, in my opinion, it's just, you know, who cares, dude? Like, if you're buying an item for $1, I mean, come on, dude. Like, I really don't think that it's affecting other players that much. You know, even with the item that I bought for $1, it was an item that no one was gonna keep. It was like it was a paladin shield that had like Hydra on it. It's like a really rare shield that nobody uses and people would just throw away. And I'm just like, and I just wanted to test a build with it. And I'm like, dude, I'd rather just spend 99 cents than waste hours and hours and hours trying to find somebody that has the item or trying to find the item. And some people might look at that as not legit or, you know, things like that, and also get into more theories that I would have to explain across a various amount of videos. You know, I play Diablo 2. That's another area where I'm very misunderstood. I play Diablo 2 in a bunch of different ways. Sometimes I do solo self-found. Sometimes I use D2JSP. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't trade. So, you know, sometimes I want to trade. Sometimes I want to use D2JSP because I want to get access to items that I wouldn't be able to access with just in-game trading, because only people on D2JSP have them, because a lot of people on D2JSP are extremely intelligent and know like what items to find. I mean, there's so many players that I see all the time, like I go to do like a Chaos Sanctuary run, and I come across items that have the possibility of being extremely valuable. And I'm just like, dude, why did you not pick that up? So, you know, and it's all of these things can be very misunderstood. And a lot of these things, again, I could not be wording them right. You know, Diablo is such a complex game. Like, these are super complex topics that I'm going on about. Diablo 3 was released, everyone hated the game, and it died. The game had 200 Twitch viewers for years. The game was completely lifeless, while Diablo 2 had 40,000 players online in 2016. And for some reason, Blizzard still seems to think...
Did it have 40,000 players online all the time, or was this a peak?
This wasn't a peak. So this screenshot is actually from one of my old videos from like 2016. So this was a consistent, and they don't show how many players are online anymore. Consistently, Diablo 2 Classic had like 20 to 40,000, maybe even more players online. Now I know a lot of those players are bots. It's just still, dude, 40,000 players is a lot of people, especially with Diablo 3 being out and it just being an old game. This was consistently all the time. So, you know, I'm not saying 40,000 players all of the time. I'm saying from what I remember consistently, it was like 20,000 and up. So, and I have that video there, I mean, as proof. I mean, the video's still on my YouTube channel.
Because I don't think they have 40,000 people online right now.
And it's a screenshot from Classic. This isn't Diablo 2 Resurrected.
There's no way. That was whenever it came out in 2016.
No, this isn't when it came out. So, yeah, again, here.
I'm pretty sure it didn't come out in 2016.
No, so the game came out in 2000, and this screenshot is from like 2016 or something like that. So, and as I said before, it's not like a peak. It's not like a new season. 20,000 players was like very consistent in Diablo 2. I think that the game was a classic success. Diablo in the franchise is like the Beatles. It doesn't matter if the album or if the music or if the game is even good at all. It's going to sell millions of copies just because of the hype around the name.
He's right about this.
Let's talk about the constant restrictions of gameplay. Diablo 4 is advertised as an open world game. The world makes you feel restricted on the places you can go because there are barriers everywhere. The dungeons are usually one pathway and it literally makes you feel trapped in the world. Diablo 2 was 10 times more open world than this, and I'm not sure why Blizzard has designed the world this way.
It's hard to say how open world Diablo 4 is really going to be because we haven't seen anything more than Act 1.
Yeah, true. It's just during the beta, just felt trapped all the time. Like, as I said in the video, the dungeons are like one way, and you know, it's kind of open world. To me, it's like, as far as what we've seen in Diablo 4, like, it's like the open world is just the same as Diablo 2, like, in my opinion.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I think that being an open world really just means that you can see other players. I think that that's what they kind of mean. It's an open zone. Yeah, I don't know.
when it was supposed to be open world. There are many aspects of the game that restrict you from where you really want to go and things you want to do. You can't go wherever you want because of the barriers in the open world, and you can't trade all of the items.
Well, I mean, you couldn't in the beta because you could only go to Act 1, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the... I mean, yeah, it's the beta, like they didn't have everything unlocked. I mean, that's kind of the point, right? I mean,
either, and aspects can only be applied to certain items. You constantly have to salvage, enchant items, extract legendaries, etc. There's always something restricting you from progressing, when instead you should just be out in the world killing stuff, not crafting constantly in the main city like World of Warcraft.
I don't... Bro, like, what?
To salvage, enchant items, extract legendaries, etc. There's always something restricting you from progressing, when instead you should just be out in the world killing stuff, not crafting constantly in the main city like World of Warcraft.
That's not even true. So, like, okay, let's talk about this.
I don't understand how that's not true though. Like, people in World of Warcraft do just like chill in the city and just like craft all the time. You know, like they gather cloth and start making items and things like that. And I think that's kind of where they're trying to bring like World of Warcraft aspects into the game to appeal to World of Warcraft players, like, you know, picking up herbs and you know, you got to craft and you got to upgrade your items and do all these things, and it's like very MMO RPG features, which, you know, again, I don't hate World of Warcraft. I love World of Warcraft. I still play it. It's just, I think they're trying to make some of it like World of Warcraft. Like, I don't know why he doesn't think that's not true. Like, I'm not saying like people are always doing that. It's definitely a thing in World of Warcraft though. Like, people chill in the city and, you know, they go out and farm areas and then they're crafting and enchanting and doing all these different types of things in the main city. So I don't know. I'm really confused like why he doesn't think that's true. Because yeah, people do that all the time in the main city in World of Warcraft. You know, there's the jewel crafters and, you know, the crafting trainers and all that stuff.
Number one, most people aren't crafting all day in the main city in World of Warcraft. However, now in Dragonflight, there's more of an economy for it, so maybe you have more people that do it now. In general, that's not the case. Also with Diablo 2, there isn't a lot of crafting. Like, let's think about what crafting things...
And I don't think that like they're doing it all day or anything. It's just, in World of Warcraft, I mean, you spend a lot of time doing stuff like that, you know?
You can do. You can replace one stat on a piece of gear. You can apply gem sockets to pieces of gear. You can enchant and also extract legendary affixes. And you can upgrade gear at the blacksmith. And you can apply gems into the gear. I mean, I feel like that's not a lot in Diablo 4.
These features should be choices, not requirements. And this is where Diablo 2... I don't know, I kind of personally just thought it was a lot. Like, it really felt like in Diablo 2, you know, time to go back to the main city, let me upgrade this, let me upgrade that. You know, I could be wrong. It just... And I'm not totally against, like, all those features of, like, crafting and things like that. It's my experience with Diablo 4 so far, it seemed like I was constantly doing that, you know, like, oh yeah, I should have upgraded this and I should have, you know, salvaged this, or, you know, some kind of feature like that. And I'm like, dude, I just want to be out there killing stuff, like, you know? And I could be wrong, and that's just, if people like lots of crafting, you know, they like lots of crafting. It just seemed like I was having to do that so much, and it just became overwhelming, and I could be wrong. Maybe it isn't that much, We'll just have to see when the game comes out. Got something almost perfect because there was crafting and there were ways to enchant your items and do other different types of crafting and enchanting abilities. It's just you didn't absolutely have to do it to be able to progress your character in the game. When you're completing the Diablo 4 story and questing, you can skip the cutscenes. However, you still spend hours of time hitting your escape key to skip the cutscenes. Every side quest has the same boring scene. Also, every quest is a lot of walking and a lot of talking to NPCs. I don't know how many times I had to walk all the way across the map for so many quests.
It is kind of annoying to have to walk all the way over to like where that lady is at the top area next to like where Anarius is. It is annoying, but like that's because we don't have the mount in Act 1, and like usually you'll have the mount in Act 2. It's not that big of a deal.
I could just be out there killing. Yeah, true. Like the mounting thing could make a big change to it. It's just like I hate when I'm doing the quest and they're just talking and talking and talking and talking. I mean, personally, I think if it's like a main boss or a main thing in the story, yeah, sure, it just kind of gets, boring and irritating for me. Where in Diablo 2, it's like you don't have to talk to the NPCs at all. You can complete the game without talking to any of them. Well, there's a few. It's just for the majority of the game, you don't have to sit around and listen to Decker Kane go on some kind of rant. Stuff. It feels like they are trying to make the game an open world type atmosphere similar to World of Warcraft with a
it's more like Lost Ark, really. I think that Lost Ark is probably the foundation that they're making a lot of decisions based off of.
An RPG spin-off that has a ton of restrictions. Rune words are not completed for the release of the game. They were a feature Blizzard announced to try to get Diablo 2 players into Diablo 4. This is basically the same thing as socketing an item with a jewel or a perfect gem. They are not rune words. You just get different effects based on the rune. Yeah, the rune words are not a cool thing, in my opinion. It's just basically, if you take one rune and take another, you get a unique effect. I mean, it sounds cool. It's just a spin-off version of rune words. And, to me, it's almost like just socketing an item with a jewel or a perfect gem. So I don't know. The feature isn't completed, and I'm sure Blizzard will use this in an upcoming patch to gain hype. I don't think they understand the complex game mechanics for rune words because this requires a lot of testing and knowledge to be balanced properly. And most of the devs at Blizzard that work on Diablo games, I don't think they know anything about Diablo 2. And I also... Let's see his reaction.
I don't know about that, man.
I do, definitely.
It's like whenever I look at the guys that are making Diablo 4, especially that Rod guy and that Joseph guy, they have the same energy as like the oldest guy in the comic book shop that knows more about Spider-Man than you do. I think they know how the rune words work.
They don't. They definitely don't. So I've been following Rod Ferguson for a very long time, and I'm a huge fan of Gears of War. I got it on PC, and I've been following Rod Ferguson forever. Super cool guy, and I think Cooley could agree with me on this. I don't think they know anything about Diablo 2 because I think it's shown over and over and over again in the patches in Diablo 2 Resurrected. So let me use two examples. One example is they put out some testing servers for Diablo 2 Resurrected for like some of the new patches. And they built characters for you to test. And I'll probably have to go back and look at some of Mr. Llama SC's videos and find this. So Blizzard would create a endgame character for you with Enigma. And if you look at the items, if you look at the build that they made for the players to play for the test server, you would be like, what are you doing, dude? Like, the base weapons that they were using for the rune words were just like, it looked like someone watched Mr. Llama's video or Dabrunski's video for 5 minutes and just put a build together. The builds were terrible, you know? And that, I'm just like, dude, you're a Blizzard employee. You don't know how to create, like, a Hammerden? Like, you designed the game, right? Now, the second topic is the new rune words, and this is where I think Cooley will agree with me. The new rune words, I think that they're really trying to... I think that they are putting in some good effort to try to bring life to Diablo 2 Resurrected. However, a lot of these new rune words that they've come out with are absolutely terrible. They just don't make any sense. You know, maybe for like speedrunners or things like that. It's just like, we want to see something like Enigma. We want to see something like Last Wish. And we want to see these really powerful endgame rune words. And when they come out with these rune words for Diablo 2 Resurrected, these new rune words, I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know? And I've come out and said, you know, I think the developers are a bunch of noobs. I probably shouldn't have said that, okay? I probably should have said, look, you know you guys are working and trying to bring life to Diablo 2 Resurrected. However, like, these rune words just aren't looking all that great. So that's why I really don't think that they understand the end game of Diablo 2. So, and I just think the characters that they made for us to test and the rune words that they're releasing, new rune words for Diablo 2 Resurrected, are just not good. Maybe a few of them are pretty good. It's just they're just not good. You know, like Cooley did a video and he made a rune word on his own, and it completely defined Diablo 2. Like, it completely defined what a endgame player is looking for in Diablo 2. And that's the reason why I don't think that they understand Diablo 2. I don't think that they understand Diablo 2 game mechanics very well, like rune word game mechanics. And, you know, I apologize if I come off kind of toxic. It's just, you know, I think it's another thing where it's like, you know, 10 different videos I could be making about, you know, why I'm so frustrated with Blizzard. You know, it's just over and over again. You know, Diablo 3, we only get one expansion. Then we get a Necromancer years later that we gotta pay for. Then Diablo Immortal. And then 20 years later with Diablo 2 Resurrected. And I'm really happy that they made the game, and I see the positive things that they are doing. It's just it's just on the surface level, it doesn't look like they know what they're doing, you know? Like even Sunder Charms, I think that they got that idea from Dabrowski. I could be wrong about that. I did hear about that though. So, rune words are a very complex end game feature that I say in the video, requires lots of testing and knowledge and understanding. And I just think with the rune words they've been releasing, it's just, they're just not good.
I'm pretty sure they do.
And also here, right, I don't understand why Zach thinks that the Diablo 2 Resurrected devs understand Diablo 2 when he's never even played Diablo 2. So if he doesn't play the game, so still love you though, Zach. Never see them ever playing the game. It just seems like they have a job, and working at Blizzard is really cool, so they just like to be at Blizzard for the clout and the hype. I never seen one ever playing the game. It just know anything about Diablo 2. And I also never see them ever playing the game. It just seems like they have a job in working at Blizzard.
I mean, I could say like Adam Fletcher, who's he's community manager, right? So it's like kind of hard to one this. But like he posts about Diablo 2 kind of regularly. So I don't know about like I can't say like, oh, this guy posted about it on this day. That's just the first one I can think of.
I just think again here, this is where I'm misunderstood. So the reason why I say that I don't think that Diablo or Diablo devs have like a lot of passion or knowledge about Diablo is because I never see them playing the game. There's a huge difference between making a post on Twitter for advertisement for Diablo 4 versus, hey guys, here's a end game build. I want to show you the game mechanics. Like, here's what I would want them to do, is instead of posting all the time, hey, Diablo 4's coming out, buy the Battle Pass. I don't know how many times I got to hear about the Battle Pass. What would make me really happy personally is if, say, Rod Ferguson or even Adam Fletcher's mad at me. He unfollowed me on Twitter. So probably because of my Blizzard rants and things like that. Here's what would be great is if Rod Ferguson, for example, came out and said, hey guys, look, I really want to show you guys some of the really end game features in Diablo 2 or in Diablo 4, and I made a sorceress. I want to show you the build that I created. There's lots of theory crafting in Diablo 4, and I want to show you how complex the game can be. This is a build that I personally made, and this just goes to show the massive amount of customization and just different types of builds that you can create in Diablo 2, And then if I saw a video like that, I could be like, dang, dude, like, they really do, like, play the game. You know what I mean? They really do got some passion for the game. They like the game. And all the content creators are making builds. I would love to see a Blizzard developer create a build and do a video about it. And when I just see them posting, oh, hey, the Battle Pass is available, there's not too much passion into that. Why are they not talking about game mechanics? Why are they not saying, once the game comes out, I would really like to see them, show their characters and be like, hey guys, like, here's the build that I made, and not just a screenshot, show something like I said before, like, hey guys, I created this super cool theory crafting build that I customized that's my own. And this really goes to show like how much potential the end game for Diablo 4 has. So, for me, it really just gets exhausting to hear about the battle pass and hear about all these advertisements. Like, I just want to see them play the game and talk about game mechanics and talk about, the really cool customization that you could possibly do with your character. So, and I probably should have worded it differently. Like I said, I'm sorry that sometimes I come across like in a negative way. Like, I would just like to see them play the game and talk about game mechanics. Probably should have just said that instead of, going on about it.
I've seen Rod in game on all 3 betas.
It is really cool. And that's the thing, just because seeing them playing the game doesn't really show that much. Like, I really want to see like some end game stuff. Especially with the Diablo 2 Resurrected devs, why are you guys not playing the game? Like, why don't you show me like you're hammered in or something like that? And like with Pez Radar, it's like, dude, you are the community manager for Diablo. And like, make a build or something. Like, let's see you play the game, dude. Like, you're the community manager for the franchise. I want to see something besides just a screenshot of you in Act 1. I want to see more than just, hey, the battle pass is available type thing. I really want to see the devs get more into the customization of the game. That is the life of the game. That is what makes Diablo so special, is being able to create these, crazy customized builds. Cool, so they just like to be a Blizzard for the clout and the hype. I never seen one Blizzard employee actually play the game, so I assume they don't have much knowledge or passion Diablo game mechanics that come from the other games, such as Diablo. And I've seen this for years. All the Blizzard developers, it's just, I never see them playing the game. Not very, very, very often. Like, they're usually just posting some kind of advertisement to buy Diablo 4, and I would, like, even with Diablo 2 Resurrected, when it first came out, they had Dabrowski do like 10 videos showcasing Diablo 2 Resurrected builds. And that's awesome for Dabrowski, but it's like, can any of the devs do this? Like, I would really love to see, one of the Blizzard devs be like, hey guys, I'm going to show you, here's a customized character that I made. Here's a build that I made. It's personally mine. And, that's just stuff I don't see very often. Most of it just seems like advertisement for the game. And I know they've talked about some end game mechanics and things like that. It's just like, I just would really love to see them make like a customized character or something. Diablo 2.
I could see why this guy didn't get invited to the events.
This is probably why they copy. Yeah, Blizzard definitely doesn't like me. Like, it's been clear, And I talked to a lot of the guys at Blizzard North and the creators of Diablo, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of my opinions they will agree with. They've been totally disrespected. They don't get enough credit. It is their game, and it's ridiculous, man. And there's lots of other things I could talk about too. It's just, it would be, I would need to make more videos. So, and I don't know, there's many theories to it. There's many different theories as to why Blizzard doesn't doesn't want, to sponsor me or anything like that. And again, with my morals and everything like that, like I said before, I don't know if I could really feel good about myself being partnered with Blizzard. Okay, well, they're going to go ahead and they're going to sponsor me, but they're not going to give any credit to the guys that created the game. I think that would make me feel really terrible, and we've definitely known that like Blizzard is not like, they're like not a good company, or they haven't been. So I do think it's getting better though. I do hope that like Blizzard can evolve and grow into like a better company. And I'm not like speaking for all Blizzard employees. I'm sure there's lots of people, obviously there's lots of people that work at Blizzard that are, really passionate about the game. It's just you never really see them diving really deep into like customization and game mechanics very often. It's usually just, hey guys, here's the battle pass, buy the game. I don't think that's showing a whole lot of passion for the game. I think it would be better if they said something like, man, there's really some crazy customization, and there's all these different infinite possibilities with your character that you can make in the game, and this is really exciting, instead of just talking about the battle pass all the time. And paste Diablo 3 because they don't actually understand Diablo at all. This is why the skill tree is like Path of Exile, and the rest of the game is just like World of Warcraft with a spin-off. It doesn't seem like PvP.
The skill tree is not really like PoE. The skill tree is like the World of Warcraft skill tree, and the Paragon board is kind of like Path of Exile.
Is going to be completed for the release. This is impossible to balance with the current version of the game because my chain lightning does more damage than my actual health. If Blizzard wanted, they could balance PvP.
Wait, what?
This is impossible. It doesn't seem like PvP is going to be completed for the release. This is impossible to balance with the current version.
Well, I don't think that it's supposed to be. I mean, Diablo is a PvE game. Nobody cares. Like, bro, if you care about PvP in Diablo, like, what the fuck? Just go play Valorant.
Of the game, because my chain lightning does more damage than my actual health. This is another thing I disagree with. Lots of people care about PvP in Diablo, especially Diablo 2, and I posted this the other day. Cooley has a video. He has a PvP video that has almost 200,000 views. So there's definitely like a market for Diablo PvP. It's just Blizzard abandoned PvP. And what I'm trying to say is that like there could be a lot of potential. World of Warcraft has esports, and this became a meme in Asmongold's chat about, oh, is it a esports game or something like that? The thing is, I see the potential. World of Warcraft has really good PvP, and it has esports. And lots of people are really passionate about Diablo 2 PvP. And I think Cooley is a perfect example of the potential that Diablo PvP could have. With his video having almost 200,000 views. He hosts the Diablo Fighting Championship every week. People on D2JSP are really passionate about Diablo 2 PvP. It's just, you got to give it a chance, man. And it's just, I really think that PvP in Diablo 4 could be something huge. It could be massive. And it could bring the game to not only a PvE level, it could bring it to like a PvP level and just make the game like that much more great. If Blizzard wanted, they could balance PvP and get the game on an esports level of popularity.
Yeah, that's what I thought about Overwatch too. And also Overwatch as well. And also World of Warcraft and StarCraft. And did they make another game? Because if they did, probably about that game too. Heroes of the Storm, yeah.
I just don't think they care enough for the game as much as they do World of Warcraft. I fear we won't see many.
As a World of Warcraft player, I feel like the WoW team has actually delivered a lot of really good content. And I think that this is not only true with retail WoW, I think it's also true with classic WoW. I think that basically every single decision that Blizzard has made regarding classic Wrath of the Lich King has been a good decision. And it's been impressive to me that they've made so many very good decisions with classic WoW. Now, I'm sure there's probably a couple of L's in there. But overall, as a WoW player, I do feel like the devs have there are things wrong with WoW. Don't get me wrong. But I think that the game is not awful right now. Like, that's it.
Major content patches because after I think Zach misunderstood me right here. Yeah, World of Warcraft has been awesome. I bought Dragonflight and I had like the time of my gaming life. So I think World of Warcraft has been completely awesome. I'm just saying that World of Warcraft is so good, like, and it's so popular and they make so much money off of it. I think World of Warcraft is one of the reasons why Diablo has not been in the spotlight. And I think they care, obviously they care way more about World of Warcraft than they do Diablo. Maybe not right now since Diablo 4 is coming out. It's just over the years, I mean, they just completely abandoned the game. And in my opinion, that's kind of why I wish they came up with other ways to monetize Diablo. Because I don't think, and I mention it, I don't think that they're going to make enough money off cosmetics and battle passes to really care about the game long term. And that's like one of my biggest fears is that we're going to get another Diablo 3 where we're going to get Diablo 4 and then maybe in 3 years we're going to get an expansion pack while World of Warcraft is getting like tons of content patches all of the time. I don't know how much. It's just they do update the game a lot, with new dungeons and new raids and things like that. So I think Zach just misunderstood me right there. Yeah, World of Warcraft is awesome, dude. After 2 years, they will make the majority of the money that there is to make from Diablo 4. I don't see Blizzard making enough money off cosmetics and battle passes for them to actually care for the game as much as they...
I think that they will. I think they absolutely will. And the reason why is because Diablo 4, it's like what he said earlier in the video, is that Diablo 4 hits a mainstream audience. There are a lot of people that hear about Diablo 4 from a commercial on TV. And one thing that people are not taking into account is how many people are console Diablo 3 players that never watch streams or anything like that. And that's why console players are like this silent majority that you never think about. But Diablo 3 has like tons of people that play it on console, obviously. So that's why they release it on every fucking console. And guess what? All of those people are going to play the game and get the battle passes. Because that's what the battle passes are really for. They're not for the super hardcore, grind every season for 900 hours players. These are for the casual 9 to 5 Dans that come back and they want to play Diablo on the weekends with their friends. These are the couch co-op dad gamers. Dans? Yeah, yeah.
They care for World of Warcraft. Maybe if the game was a subscription-based money off cosmetics, battle passes for them to actually care.
Yeah, I find that to be like, that's such a crazy opinion. Like, so I wonder why this person, like, if you were to ask them, like, why do you think every single game is shifting over towards this model then? If it's not a fundamentally good model, why is every game shifting towards this model?
He does have a good point there. I still think, though, Blizzard wants to make a lot of money. And after a year, after 2 years, I mean, the money is just going to dip, And that's just my opinion. I just don't think that they're going to make enough money. And unless they should start releasing expansion packs, dude. That's probably what they should do, is release expansion packs. So cosmetics, battle pass, and expansion packs. And I think that will save the game, because they want to make money. So,
very interesting question. Because it makes money? Well, he's saying it won't. And he's saying the reason why Blizzard won't care about it is because it won't make money. Discord interview him? Sure, if he wants to talk about the game, that's fine with me. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
And we talked about the Discord interview in the beginning of the video, so I think it would be a constructive conversation, because we come from two different sides of the Diablo spectrum. So I think it would be a good way to, kind of mesh those together, and, I think it would be a good constructive conversation. So, for the game, as much as they care for World of Warcraft. Maybe if the game was a subscription-based game. I've also tried to reach out to Zach and haven't heard anything back, so I don't really know how to contact him. So I don't know. It's just over time they won't make enough money from the game anymore. So I don't really see them continuing to develop more features and more of the end game in the future. Also,
PoE gets developed, right? I would say PoE has continuously gotten developed over time, and that hasn't really been a big deal. And that's fine. Diablo 3 didn't. Well, don't you understand that if you say that Diablo 3 didn't, that goes against your argument, because Diablo 3 didn't have the monetization structure that Diablo 4 has, that he is implying will prevent it from making money? So, if you say Diablo 3 didn't, you're agreeing with me.
Seems to be what I call a culture flip, or a new age of Diablo players that actually like Diablo 3 and even Diablo 4 game mechanics. After the release of Diablo 3, everyone hated the game, even before it was released. Also, the game died.
I don't think people hated the game before it was released. That's actually not true. I don't know how old this guy is, but I'll tell you what it was like. So basically, everybody was really, really hyped for Diablo 3. And the reason for that is because everybody, number one, this had been an anticipated game. When did Diablo 2 come out? Year 2000, 2002 or something like that? I don't know. Came out a long, long time ago. And Diablo 3 was the main next installment, right? It was a huge fucking big deal, and they announced Diablo 3 in 2008, I believe. So this had been hyped up for 4 years. So number one, the game had hype riding on it, and it was in development hell. They redid the game a couple of times. It was a big thing. And so then whenever Diablo 3, the beta came out, you were able to play up to Leoric, the Skeleton King. And that experience of the beginning of the game up to Leoric was actually S tier. And everything, I would argue, in Act 1 in Diablo 3 was one of the best gaming experiences of an ARPG ever. It was absolutely fucking S tier. And that was the only thing that people had a viewpoint of inside of Diablo 3. All they saw was Act 1 being really good. But the moment that you step foot into that desert, you had mobs off-screening you, enemies not attacking you and not being able to be seen. Zoltan Kuhl was a shit fight. Belial was a shit fight. Everything in Act 2 was shit. It was so garbage. That stupid butterfly bitch that would run over and she'd put the butterflies on you, and then she'd summon the berserkers and she'd run away, and oh my god, it was awful, right? So the point is that Diablo 3, was extremely anticipated on release. And everybody was hoping and expecting it to be good because everything they saw in the closed beta was massively fucking popular. Do you know what? Dylan, show us your dick, Dylan. Let me play on his BattleNet account because he had the beta and I didn't. This was literally fucking like 12 years ago or something like that. Yeah, no, it's a friend of mine. It's a long story why he's called that. It's a very, very long story. And anyway, so he had me play on it, and I played all the way through it, and I had so much fucking fun. And anyway, what I'm saying is that Diablo 3 was massively and eagerly anticipated by the entire internet. And I remember that fateful day, and it was like May in 2012 whenever it came out. And I played with a couple of friends of mine, and I remember I got like a massive drink at 7-Eleven, and I played all night long, and error 37, which was the error code that you got whenever you couldn't log into the server, was the top trending thing on all of Twitter worldwide because the servers were so bad. But to say that the game was disliked before it came out is just factually untrue. Like, I was there. Maybe there were...
All right, so here's again where I think he's misunderstanding what I'm saying. Now, obviously, before Diablo 3 came out, obviously all of us were super hyped for the game. And there's a wiki page on this, and a lot of people were extremely angry about the direction that Diablo 3 was going. They thought it looked like World of Warcraft. This was a massive, massive thing going on in the Diablo community, and people were in a rage about it because they thought the game looked terrible. So, and this is one of the issues that I have with Diablo 3. So many people were upset mainly with the art direction of the game. And there was a meme in 2008, and in the meme, I'll show it on the screen. It was like what I waited 10 years for and what I got. And the meme, it showed like a picture of like a dark skeleton, basically saying like, I want this really dark horror game. And then it said, instead what I got was a game with rainbows and unicorns. So basically, Diablo players were saying this game does not look good. Like, it looks like a game with rainbows and unicorns. Like, we really don't like this. And this is one of the reasons why not only Diablo 3 is not a good game, in my opinion, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the original developers of Diablo, and it's a disgrace to the player base. Because players were saying, hey, we don't like the art direction of this game. It looks like unicorns and rainbows. So you know what Jay Wilson and the development team did? Whimsyshire, or whatever it's called. They said, you know what? You think our game looks like unicorns and rainbows? We're going to put a level in the game that has unicorns and rainbows because we don't really care what you say. You know, you don't like our game? Guess what? We're going to put rainbows and unicorns in it. And I thought that was completely disrespectful to the player base. You know, Jay Wilson, I mean, you could go back and look. Like, people were totally upset with the direction Diablo 3 was going. People definitely, I'm not saying everybody hated the game. It's just a very large majority of Diablo players did not like the direction the game was going before the game came out. And there's proof of that on the wiki page because people were complaining about this all of the time. And then when the game came out, people, I'm not saying everybody, a lot of people didn't like the game. And this was another thing of why Diablo 3, in my opinion, is such a disgrace to the franchise of Diablo. Because the creator of Diablo, David Brevik, he did an interview where he was advertising his Marvel Heroes action RPG game. And he said something like, you know, it's really sad to see that so many players are outraged about Diablo 3, and it just seems like a lot of players just don't like the game. And he said, you know, this is kind of what happens when the people that created the game or something like that, when the original developers leave, the game changes. So the creator of Diablo was basically saying, hey, you know, like, I'm really sad that a lot of people are upset about Diablo 3 and that they're outraged. And then you know what the Diablo 3 devs did? Jay Wilson went and said, fuck that loser. And then a few of the other Diablo developers were like kind of saying the same thing. So it was completely ridiculous, and people were outraged by this, man. Like, people did, and I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying that everybody hated Diablo 3. However, before the release and after the release, people were outraged about the game, and they hated the direction that the game was going. And I'm not trying to speak for everybody, and I'm sure a lot of people did like the game. However, there was a massive amount of people that did not like the game. And there's a Wikipedia page that I could show that shows all the details about the art, about people not liking the art direction, and the interview with the Diablo creator David Brevik is out there as well, where he's saying, you know, that he's sad that, you know, so many players are outraged. So even if you didn't like the direction Diablo 3 was going, of course they were still hyped for it. You know, of course everybody was hyped for it, even if you didn't like the direction the game was going. So yeah, definitely there was hype for the game. However, a massive amount of players did not like Diablo 3. And I don't know how many times I've heard this on my YouTube channel, that over and over and over again, people saying that they don't like Diablo 3. And that could just be because, you know, my channel is based around Diablo 2. So, you know, I think that this is just something I have to disagree with Asmongold. And, you know, I think a lot of people are looking for like perfect numbers as well. Like, these are things that are impossible to calculate. You know, we can't possibly calculate how many players enjoyed the art direction Diablo 3 was going versus the players that didn't like the direction the game was going. So I definitely have proof of those two things. And, you know, I don't know. I think it's just a topic that's, you know, up for discussion, and probably like one of those things like why a Discord call with Zach would be like a constructive conversation, because, you know, I really am into like the historical stuff and the development process of Diablo, and, you know, I really get involved in like everything that, you know, is Diablo, the development and game mechanics and things like that.
For some people that disliked it, sure. But to say that it was disliked is absolutely untrue.
While Diablo 2, as I said, had 40,000 players online. I will say I love Diablo. Everyone hated the game, even before it was released. Also, the game died while Diablo 2, as I said, had 40,000 players online. I will say I love Diablo 4, and so far it is a wonderful game.
Well, that's a... what? Okay. Great.
Again, here, like, I think I'm just misunderstood again. Like, I do think Diablo 4 is a wonderful game. It's an awesome game. I love the game. I think it's really good. It's just, I think it's missing a lot of those really core game mechanics, and all the things that made Diablo special in the first place just are kind of missing from Diablo 4. You know, it's like Diablo 4 is like a spin-off of Diablo, in my opinion. However, everything that made the franchise unique compared to other games has been and a lot of people, a lot of people keep saying like, oh, well, you're just trying to speak for everybody. And, a lot of the things that I say, like even just right now, like I'm not just speaking them as fact, like, yeah, it's just my opinion and that's what I think. Like, and I really apologize that sometimes that I come off in a way where I'm like, oh, this is a fact, So definitely a place, during content creation and conversation, just something that I need to personally work on, and that's my shit. That's, stuff that I have to deal with. And, I really do apologize for that. I'm not trying to, speak for everybody, and usually when I'm talking, I'm trying to say in a general sense, and I know I don't express I know I don't express that enough, and I definitely apologize for that, dude. Dismissed for years, and this is why there's an outrage from Diablo 2 players. All we wanted was a new game that was similar to Diablo 2 and its core game mechanics, such as rune words and endgame. Yeah, why is it that, like, we can't just have a game that's like Diablo 2? At least, like, something. All these new action RPG games, like, they're just not like Diablo 2. And I think Mr. Llama SC would agree with me on this, is just that magic that Diablo 2 hasn't been shown in new action RPGs. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, we'll just go play Diablo 2. It's just, well, I just want like a new game that's kind of like it. You know what I mean? It's surprising.
I didn't want that. I'll tell you that. I watched Diablo 2. I thought it looked like shit. I thought the end game sucked. Yeah, I didn't want that. Oh, no way.
I don't know how far in endgame Asmongold really got. Like, when I watched his videos, like, I think he was only in like Act 1 or 2. So I would really like be interested in like knowing how far in the end game he really got. Because I think if he understood like rune words more and really experienced like the infinite, almost infinite possibilities of like build creation in Diablo 2, and like the infinite possibilities that the game could have, he would think it's an amazing game. So I really think if he just like understood the game more, he he wouldn't have like such a negative take on the game. And you got to think it is an older game, so it's not going to be as appealing as like Diablo 4. So
I didn't want Diablo 3 either. Don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted.
To me that this new age of Diablo players tell us to go play Diablo 2 if we like it so much, and tell us we're on some kind of nostalgia trip, when everyone hated Diablo 3 to begin with. So I guess it's just a new age for Diablo. That's also another reason why I think like, and I don't want to have a Discord call with Asmongold because I want clout or anything like that. Like, I actually want there to be like a good reason to have a conversation with Zach. And I think that, here, let me go back and watch this.
Don't get it twisted.
To me that this new age of Diablo players tell us to go play Diablo 2 if we like it so much. Right. That's why I think like having a conversation with him would be a constructive conversation, because, we can try to learn to understand each other more. Try to learn to understand like where Diablo 2 players are coming from, where Diablo 3 players are coming from. So, we're not constantly like making these memes and, calling Diablo 2 players boomers and we're just on a nostalgia trip. Like, I really think if we took the time, especially if even other content creators, that come from like opposite sides of the Diablo spectrum came together and had a conversation, I think we could really try to like understand where we're coming from, because as I said before, I mean, Zach hasn't really played Diablo 2 that much, and I don't know how much of the end game he's played. It's just, I really think if he took the time to try to understand like the real core game mechanics of Diablo 2, and especially other players, they would realize like Diablo 2 has like this very complex, infinite, replay value. And it's a formula that's there. It's just it's just not completed in Diablo 2. And I just really think if different types of communities came together and tried to understand each other, we can better the game for the future, and better the life of Diablo. And tell us we're on some kind of nostalgia trip when everyone hated Diablo 3 to begin with. So I guess it's just a new age for Diablo.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the way that every game is, right? I mean, each game is going to grow and get more popular, and the way it's going to be designed is going to change. I mean, that's just how it is. I think that I think the problem.
Thanks for liking the video, Zach. Appreciate it, man.
That I have with this video is that a lot of what he did was, I mean, I think you can have a read on the community, but I think that the only like real evidence that he used is like really not super good. Like, for example, having 40,000 active players on, like that's probably during a seasonal update or some kind of like a big event. This isn't like Tuesday, right? And
no, like I said, this was a consistent player base on Diablo 2, classic Diablo 2. And as I said before, I know a lot of them were bots and things like that. However, you got to think 20 to 40,000 players online on a game that is 16 years old. That is a lot of people, dude. And especially with seeing the growth of all these other Diablo 2 YouTube channels, myself, Mr. Llama SC, I Love MF, Cooley, Sweet Phil. Sweet Phil and Cooley have only been around posting content consistently for like 2 years, and they have 50,000 subscribers. And Cooley's killing it right now. He's pulling in like 50K a video. So it's really difficult to kind of see how popular Diablo 2 is on a surface level, because as I said before, Diablo 2 has like this cult underground following that's kind of hard to see, on a surface level.
Usually games are going to have a big boost whenever a new season comes out or anything like that. And that's the way it goes. He's speaking for everyone. Yeah, I think that also a lot of times whenever he says that Diablo 2 players or, what everybody thinks or something like that, I don't think that he was really speaking for anybody else except for himself. Now, obviously, I'm sure there are people that agree with him, but to say that this is some sort of generalized opinion is, I don't really think, very true. I think also it's kind of cheesy to like call out a lot of these like other content creators and say like, well, these people like insinuate basically that they are disingenuous or malicious in misrepresenting how they feel about the game in order to get access to Blizzard. I think that's kind of unfair, calling them shills, basically, especially.
Yeah, and basically, like I said in the beginning of the video, like I wasn't trying to call them fake or anything like that. I've talked to Mr. Llama SC, Debrunski, DJ Waters, Cooley, the past few days. So, I wasn't at all trying to say that like they were fake or anything like that. I was just trying to say that, I'm usually going to say something that's, not going to be the best for business with Blizzard. And that's my choice. That's, my way I want to go about presenting myself. And I'm not saying that it's not okay that they don't do that. They don't have to do what I do. It's just, um, I think and it's just, if you listen to the video, like, I didn't say anything negative about them, like, at all. Like, I was just saying that, I'm kind of an outcast because I have lots of controversial takes, and I think if you removed the list of names there, like, I think people would have looked at it completely different. So, I know some people are upset about it, and, I apologize for that. Like, I wasn't trying to call them out or anything, and, I love all of them, very much. So, and definitely, like, as I said before, I mean, I recorded the video in like 15 minutes, dude. So, and I didn't review it very well, and I should have probably reviewed my video more before I released it. It's just I was trying to, just record a video real quick and not think too much about it. And, it's really crazy. I've been gone for a few years and even months, and and I just record a video in 15 minutes, and it's got the whole community in a frenzy. So, and also, just, I was trying to speak in general, like, I should have said more often, I'm sure, a large majority of Diablo 2 players might feel this way, or, a large majority of people might feel this way about trading. And, I was saying, you a lot instead of me, and trying to represent everybody's experience. And, I just, I apologize for coming off that way. And I thought, people would take it more in a general sense. Like, I didn't think that people would think that I'm trying to speak for everybody. You know what I mean? And, next time, as I said, negative feedback is, there's nothing more valuable than negative feedback, because you can improve yourself.
As I said, I mean, and this is the problem with.
Also, I can't believe I'm spending 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes on a 13-minute video.
With people like this that speak in generalities, is that anytime that they're actually, like, required to put a fact down, they're trying to put, like, information down. They're really paid to shill. They're literally paid to shill, though. Well, what I'm saying is that, what are they saying? So here, let me give you logic here, okay? So they're paid by Blizzard to shill. Who's to say that this guy isn't also being paid by YouTube metrics and YouTube videos to just make a controversial video for the sake of it?
And also, as I said before, even Mr. Llama SC has been, like, really truthful about his takes on Diablo 4, and I'm really sad to see that he's been taking a lot of heat for his opinions on Diablo 4, because Mr. Llama SCS has, done so much for our community, and it's just, really, it's just a video game, dude. And, I wasn't trying to say that they were fake at all. However, you do have to kind of see it in a way, like, I'm not saying that they're fake. It's just that, yeah, some of them are probably not going to say something because they don't want to lose their affiliation with Blizzard. There's you gotta think there's probably a possibility of that. If I'm associated with Blizzard, I probably shouldn't go on some kind of I probably shouldn't release a video on, all of the negative things that Blizzard has done before. It's just, with me, it's just, I want to be able to say whatever I want to say. So, but much love to, like, everybody on the list, man.
That he doesn't really believe. How is he not just a shill for YouTube views? So you see how the video has no views. It has 18,000 views. I think that's a lot. If you look at, and also it could have popped off more. Let's look. It's about average, maybe above average with a lot of his videos. We'll just have to wait and see, you know, how many more people watch it, especially 10 days ago. I think it'll probably go up a lot whenever the game comes out. So, yeah. So, according to that view, nothing is genuine. Yeah, so according to the view, nothing is genuine. Exactly. And so it's like, it's easy to say that everybody else is like a shill and something like that. But I think that whenever you're making, like, baseless accusations like, nobody on the Diablo team plays Diablo 2 or knows anything about Diablo 2, and like they're just working at Blizzard for the clout. Like, I think that's ridiculous. Shows where people say go to the site and win money. Well, the thing is that if you want to say that somebody is being a shill and what they're saying isn't accurate, you should be able to disprove it. So like if somebody is saying something that is not true, if you're not a shill, you should be able to come out and be like, this is not true because of this. But that didn't happen. Because it's a baseless accusation. Assumes that developers are actual decision makers. Fuck off with that. Well, it also, like, assumes that he knows what they're doing. I'm not so full of it. All he does is suck my balls. Is that it? I don't know. I mean, as I said, I think that, I think that what he's done a lot of times in this video is he's basically taken his own opinion and then just, instead of saying I, said us or everybody in the community. Dude, I'm a Diablo 2 player and I agree with most of what he says. Cook my shit and roast me, but I'll talk about it. Let's see what you have to say. Yeah, sure. Let's read some messages here.
This guy right here, he actually defended me a lot, and you know, I really appreciate that, and I gave him a phone call, and he's got the YouTube channel as well. So, you know, I really just tried to reach out to him and just you know, show my love to him, and I tried to do that for like all content creators for Diablo, you know, especially a ton of those Diablo partners on that list. I repost them, I donate to them, I subscribe to them, like I said earlier. You know, I posted a Twitter video of me falling asleep to like a Cooley stream. Like, I support all of them, man. Like, I try to show as much love and as much love as I can to like so many of those content creators, and you know, will continue to do so because I have such a love and passion for the game. And you know, even though I'm a content creator myself, you know, I'm also a viewer, you know, I'm also a fan of theirs, and I also admire them as well. So, you know, when I see their content, you know, I get, you know, really proud of them. Like, I'm really happy to see how far like Cooley and, you know, Sweet Phil and these other content creators have come, because, you know, I just have a love and passion for the game, and, you know, I'd like to, you know, just show my support for people. I love to be there for people, man, and especially Mr. Llama SC has been there for me a lot, man, and you know, always reaching out. So, you know, I try to do the same for this guy right here, BHV Drift. So, you know, just gave him a phone call, and we had a really good conversation, and I was happy to make a new friend.
He's speaking for Diablo 2 players. He's fully correct. Well, how do you know that? I mean, like, I don't think that, like, I mean, for example, like, I don't speak for the World of Warcraft community. I don't speak for anybody. I speak for myself, and there are people who agree with me. Right? You can't say that a person speaks for the community because they weren't elected by the community. This is just a person who is appointing themselves a speaker as of the community. I'm a Diablo 2 player and he doesn't speak for me? Yeah, and so it's like, what is this? Like, Crew never played Diablo 2. Diablo 2 PvP is the sole reason people play it too. Diablo 2 PvP is the sole reason why people play it. Well, then logically it would make sense that most of the people that are streaming it would be streaming PvP, right? Well, let's take a look at that. Do we see any PvP streams here? It sure seems like a lot of people are just farming items. Control F PvP. Okay.
Yeah, and again, as I said with the PvP stuff, I keep repeating myself, and I apologize. Cooley has a PvP video with like almost 200,000 views, so there's definitely a community for Diablo PvP. And Cooley's just the start of it. You know what I mean?
It's a good idea. Find on page PvP. Okay, one of two matches here. Yeah, one person has 5 viewers and the other one has 3. So that's a factually untrue statement, at least if you go off of Twitch metrics, which I do think are a rough estimate, although it's not accurate completely. The guy said Diablo 2 Legend knows the game more fully than anyone. I don't think anybody's debating whether he knows Diablo 2. I'm a Xtimus stan. This guy knows his Diablo 2 shit. Maybe he's wrong about Diablo 4, but he knows Diablo 2 better than anyone. Okay. Diablo 3 is fully trash. He's trying to prevent it. Diablo 2 is legendary. But, like, why was Diablo 3 trash? Like, I think that's really the question that people don't understand. Like, why was it trash? Yeah.
It was trash because it was just extremely repetitive, and it just, like, nobody played the game anymore. Like, it was just repetitive, and it wasn't, like, a rewarding experience. And even, like, playing a Whirlwind Barbarian, like, all you did was just hold down your right-click the Whirlwind and press a few buttons. Like, the game was just, like, where in Diablo 2, you're having to do, like, all these different things. Like, when you Whirlwind in Diablo 2, you have to Whirlwind a certain way. Like, you have to Whirlwind in the triangle. You know what I mean? So, there's lots of reasons. Like, legendaries dropping everywhere. And
I think that it was, like, Diablo 3 is one of the only games that I have never really even thought about playing again since I quit it. Because, trust me, because it is. Yeah, true. People are stupid as fuck. Xtimus is older than you. He was there too. Okay. Diablo 2 is far superior. It's not even funny. I mean, yeah, maybe Diablo 2 is better than Diablo 3. I mean, I don't know. PvP is referred to as PK in Diablo. Okay, I'll search PK instead. Phrase not found. Okay. Next. Diablo 3 was trash due to scaling stats and goofy itemization. Yeah, I don't really think that Diablo 3 was trash because of that. I think Diablo 3 was trash because it played like trash. That's what my opinion is. I think that it played incredibly badly. The game was horribly balanced. They had this weird real money trading where people could buy gold with real money. The bosses were bad. And not only were they bad, but they were bugged. Like, the story, I think the story wasn't even, I think the story was fine. I think the crazy scaling was only after the expansion. Yeah, well, that is actually true. And then they added, like, I remember they had monster power levels, and then, like, I got Paragon 100 in Diablo 3. Like, vanilla Diablo 3. I got Paragon 100. I played that game a lot, man. Greater Rifts were repetitive, and boss abilities were awful. Well, that was Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Let's see here. We can agree to disagree, that's fine, but Xtimus does speak for the vast majority of Diablo 2 players. I confer that a lot of his takes were bad, but he's right about a lot of his baseline takes. So then you also love Diablo 4 and you're excited for it? Because that's what he said at the end of the video. I'm not, but that's one of the takes I disagree with. Okay. Well, there you go. Isn't Diablo 3 Season 28 great from what people are saying? Yeah, people are very positive about that, but you know, like, having one good season after, like, 10 bad ones isn't really that exciting to me. I remember at the time I was excited about being able to sell items on the auction house. Probably realized auction house would control the game, made me less excited. I'm an old-ass Diablo 2 player, and the random Xtimus does not speak for me. Diablo 4 beta was fun. Yeah, I think so, too. I just don't think that, like, you can really compare a game that came out in 2002 to, like, a new game nowadays. Like, you can on a fundamental level, but, like, I think also the numbers speak for themselves. there aren't a lot of people that are watching or consuming Diablo 2 content. And I would argue that interest in a game reflects.
Like, dude, as I said before, like, there are a ton of people consuming Diablo 2 content. I mean, go to Cooley's channel, go to Mr. Llama CS channel. Like, Cooley is pulling in like 50k videos or 50k views a video. You know, Llama's posting like random Diablo 2 clips and they're getting like 50k. You know, you've seen the rise of Sweet Phil, 50k subscribers. Cooley, 50k subscribers. Mr. Llama SC, 250 subscribers. Debrunski, 100 subscribers. I think I Love MF is probably at like 40k subscribers. You know, it's just not, there's not really like a huge popularity on Twitch of YouTube, or there's not really a huge popularity of Diablo 2 content being consumed on Twitch. I think you probably should have went over to YouTube and just went to like Mr. Llama's channel or Cooley's channel. Like, there is a massive amount of people consuming Diablo 2 content. So, you know, I think he probably should have just looked at YouTube and not just Twitch.
Interest in a game. And I would say that for PC games, if you have a lot of people that are not consuming content about the game, then they probably just don't give a shit about it. And it's not there's nothing wrong about Diablo 2, it's just that it's a 20-year-old game. People aren't playing it constantly. And guess what? In 20 years, people aren't going to be playing Diablo 4 either. And that's okay. Something about insane drop rates on runes and uniques is being able to use normal quality gear. Every Diablo 2 dick rider's opinion boils down to this. I don't want to see items that have like these like astronomically low drop rates. Like and if you have those items, I'm fine with that, but you have to have trading. Like, actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that statement. I am completely fine with it if you have trading. I absolutely hate it if you don't have trading. If you do not have trading, then I would fucking hate it. And if you do have trading, I would fucking love it. Certain items only drop from weekly bosses. It's probably going to be stupid. Let me back on my boy Xtimus, regardless. No, I mean, I'm not, like, I don't, like, hate this guy or anything. I just, I think he's just, like, especially with, like, the trading thing, like, as far as I know, maybe something's changed, but, like, he's factually wrong on that. Just straight up factually wrong that you're going to be able to, like, the rare items are going to be the best items because you're going to have five affixes in World Tier 4. Like, it's just not true. Now, it could be different. And they also do have trading. They have limited trading. Chase items like Headhunter and Mageblood are cool, though. I hope we have trade, though. Without that, in the RPG is a lot less fun for me. Do you know?
It really does seem like they're trying to, like, really limit the trading, though. So, I don't know. We're just going to have to see.
Why Headhunter and Mageblood are more okay in PoE? 2 reasons. Doctors and apothecaries. Because even if you can't buy the item, you can work towards it very slowly. Divination cards are PoE's, like, actual genius fucking way to deal with offsetting RNG from super low drop rate items. I just hope they don't abandon Diablo 4 like they did with Diablo 3. I don't think that they will abandon Diablo 4, but after the Overwatch stuff, I'm a little bit hesitant to start, like, going and defending Blizzard about everything. But, I mean, it seems like they're not going to abandon the game because they're financially invested in keeping people engaged in it. And, like, their entire business model is having people continuously engaged in Diablo 4. So if they don't have people continuously playing the game, they don't make any money. It's the same reason why, like, Honkai Star Rail was able to, release anime episodes for every character that they're doing. It's because the game's making a lot of money and they want to keep people engaged with it. After Overwatch shit, you should be worried about monetization of Diablo 4. Personally, like, I don't really care about skins at all, and I don't have a problem with any monetization that's an upfront cost. So here's the monetization that I don't like. Spending money on something that you don't know what you're going to get out of it. That's what I don't like. If you have a skin on a store and the skin is $35 and you buy the skin and you get the skin, I have nothing wrong with that. But I don't like loot boxes or gambling mechanics. If it's not a gambling mechanic, so gacha is fine. Wait, you guys think... loot boxes are okay if you can get them for free? Yes, spending money on loot boxes is what's bad. It's a slippery slope, but there's nothing you can do about it, to be honest. It's not a slippery slope. Introducing gambling mechanics into a video game made for kids is not... it's the same thing as, like... it's like saying that having sexual characters like Widowmaker in the game is like a slippery slope for Overwatch, like Rule 34 hentai being actual cinematics in the game. Which would be great, but that's not what's going to happen. It's not, no, it's just, that's just insane. There's an obvious difference between the two things. What's your point? My point is that I'm not worried about the monetization about Diablo 4. I mean, I don't... like, Blizzard doesn't really have... like, Diablo Immortal is, like, kind of its own thing, right? It's, like, just some pay-to-win trash game, and everybody kind of knows that. I think even Blizzard does. But, like, Overwatch isn't pay-to-win. Overwatch has never been pay-to-win. World of Warcraft is... I mean, you could say maybe it's pay-to-win because you can buy, like, BOEs and stuff, but, like, really it's not. Diablo 3 is not pay-to-win. It was in the original game, and it's not in Reaper of Souls. You can buy runs. Yeah, but you can do that in a lot of games. Like, to the extent that, like, yeah, I guess you could say it's pay-to-win, but I don't really think it's pay-to-win in the same way. But sure. Quinn69 got top ranks in PvE just by buying BOEs in Shadowlands early Season 1. Quinn69 also got top ranks in PvP in Season 1 of BFA. You know why? Because he's good at the game. He also got it in Legion because he's good at the game. Obviously, the BOEs helped, but it's not like you could give those BOEs to any random person and just have them succeed. Well, anyway, we're talking in circles now. I think the point is that, you know, obviously, I think that we are going to have trading to an extent. I think that we should have trading completely. I agree with him on this. I think to say that all Diablo 4 players or Diablo 2 players don't like Diablo 4 is obviously not true. I do think there are a lot of people that do agree with this, but at the same time, I think that, you know, a lot of times whenever he's speaking for the majority, I think he's really just speaking for himself. And the points of data that he uses, I think, are pretty bad, especially with, like, insinuating that, like, other content creators are all shills, and that the game doesn't have RNG mechanics, and the loot drops aren't the same. The trading stuff is definitely true. Let's see here. The rune words, yeah, this is disappointing. Hopefully they add that in later. I'm sure they will. And there was something else. Oh, yeah, the player base of Diablo 2 and the size of it. So, yeah.
And we pretty much, like, I've already, like, discussed all of this stuff, like, throughout the reaction, so, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about it for the reaction, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you to Asmongold for watching the video, and thank you to everybody for your feedback and everything like that. I really appreciate it. You know, going on here about 3 hours, you know, I really hope it was a constructive video for the future and the, you know, replay value for Diablo 4. Love you guys so much. I hope you guys are doing well, and sending you guys my love and light. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.